Now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session on overseas direct investments. The session today will be taken by Mr. Manoj K Pahwa. So we'll be waiting till 11:05 until some more participants join the webinar. So meanwhile, we are launching a poll whether everything is working properly or not, whether audio is coming properly or not. We are just launching a poll. So please answer that. Now the poll is visible on your screen. Just please provide your response on that. People who joined now, so there is a poll which is visible on your screen. Just please select an option. So we'll be closing the poll in 2 minutes.
Vinay? Vinay, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay. I think we should start the session.
So around 85% of people voted. So I think everything is working fine now. So the Q&A session would be at the end, and there are two icons on your screen: question mark icon and hand icon. So if you have any questions, you can post it over there, or you can raise your hand. So your questions will be answered at the end of the session. So Mr. Manoj K Pahwa would be taking the session today. So, Manoj sir, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. I hope all people are at home and safe. You know, the world is going through a very tough scenario. I think worst in the history of mankind, when the whole world is at standstill. Still, we people are coming together and joining the webinars, doing the webinars. It's a wonderful step which ICICI Bank has taken, so that we can learn from each other's experiences. Today we'll be discussing about ODI, overseas direct investment, and its disinvestment also. ODI has been talked at many places, but the disinvestment is rarely talked. How to get the money back, and what are the tax implications, what are the consequences? We will be discussing on that. And now I'm sharing my presentation. I hope everybody can see this presentation.
Manoj ji, you'll have to share your screen. When can you help him?
Manoj sir is not. No, it is.
Yeah.
Now I think this presentation can be seen. Overseas tax investment. When we talk about overseas investment, and it has two forms: the joint ventures or wholly owned subsidiaries. Why? It is the most important avenues of promoting global businesses. When you want to go global, uh, any Indian enterprises, it has to go either by joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary. Joint ventures are perceived as a medium of economic and business cooperation between India and other countries. Whereas when you want to promote your business, if you, like many companies want to set up new markets, so they go for wholly owned subsidiaries. Overseas investments can be referred to as investment made by way of contribution of capital, subscription to memorandum in the foreign company, purchase of existing shares of a foreign company by through market purchase, private placement, stock exchange, or whatever the way. When we talk about statute, Section 6 of FEMA Act provides the power to Reserve Bank to specify the permissible capital account transaction. It is ODI is the best way of doing capital account transaction. It provide, and Section 6(3) give power to RBI to make the regulation for capital account transactions. In exchange of those powers, RBI has come up with a notification on 3rd May 2000, and subsequently through Foreign Exchange Amendment, Transfer and Issue of Foreign Security Regulations 2004 in 2004. And later on, RBI has come up with its master directions in January 2016, where you can find all the rules and regulations relating to the ODI. What is joint venture? A joint venture anything where you are not wholly owned, you are doing a business with somebody else. 100% of shares are not owned by you. That is treated as a joint venture. Whether it is in the form of a company overseas incorporation, whether in the form of LLC or LLP overseas, as per the law of the host country, that amounts to a joint venture. Wholly owned subsidiary, when we have 100% holding of that company or subsidiary, that is treated as wholly owned subsidiary. This is the basic two differences between joint venture and wholly owned subsidiary. Host country, when we talk about host country is the country where the foreign entity receiving the direct investment from Indian party is registered. Like if you want to do business in Europe and in EU, you form one company in Spain. So host country will be Spain. It won't be the whole EU. European Union, you can do business in whole European Union, but where the company or joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary is registered, that country is called as host country. Now we say, what do you mean by Indian party? Because it says the entire capital is held by Indian party. Indian party means a company incorporated in India or a body created under the Act of Parliament or a partnership firm registered under Indian Partnership Act. Point which need to be noted out here, not any partnership can be treated as Indian party. Only the partnership which is registered. The most important part is registered. Registered under Indian Partnership Act is going to be treated as Indian party. Or a LLP, registered under LLP Act. These can be treated as Indian party. But now question is where two Indian companies or two LLPs of India or one company of India and one LLP, they go abroad and they form one company. So collectively all Indian companies or all whatever the registered entities in India will be treated as one single Indian party. The governing regulations already discussed are this foreign exchange transfer regulations, which came in 2004, then master directions, which came in 2016 and keep on updated by RBI in October 16, January 17, January 18, and latest in September 19. RBI keeps on updating these master directions. They're not issuing master directions every time in new, but they keep on updating the existing one. Prior to these master directions coming to RBI used to issue master circulars every year. That's an old thing, but now they just update the existing master directions. They don't issue new every time. We already discussed that who are the eligible investors in Indian party. Of course, Indian party we have discussed. Resident individual, proprietary firm, trust society or unincorporated entities. These all are eligible investors to do investment overseas. Now the question is, what is the purpose of ODA? Why it is required? It it could be required for expansion of market through market seeking, of course, expansion of market. Resource means that you need, like you need to procure raw materials from one African country. So it's easy and better that you form a wholly owned subsidiary company there, procure the resources from that African country, brought back to India, and then process that. That's a raw diamond. A lot of diamond companies which I knew, they have subsidiary companies in Africa. They procure the raw diamond for there, bring to India, do cutting and polishing, and then sell it. This is the second. Then strategic asset seeking. The best example of this is acquisition of Jaguar Land Rover by Tata Motors. It was a strategic asset. Yes, they wanted to build a world-class company. They wanted to have a good asset in their portfolio. For that purpose, they have acquired Jaguar Land Rover through ODI. That is overseas direct investment. They have acquired that. And the other purpose could be efficiency. Like many of Indian garment exporters, they have made investments in Bangladesh. Why? They have their existing companies in India. They have their existing export houses in India. Still, they went to Bangladesh, and there they formed the companies for the purpose of efficiency. Because Bangladesh manufacturing in Bangladesh are better in quality and low in cost. For that efficiency, they went to Bangladesh. Now we discuss the routes for ODI. The three types of routes: automatic, approval, specially prohibited activities. Three things are there. What is automatic route? Through its notification, RBI has clearly mentioned that in most of the scenarios, no approval by RBI is required. Only the AD, authorized dealer, is required to do the processing. And with effect from July 3, 2014, it has been decided that any financial commitment exceeding 1 billion USD, 1 billion, good amount, 1 billion USD would require prior approval, not less than that. And any Indian party is eligible to make investment overseas under automatic route up to 400% of their net worth as per last audited balance sheet. As per last audited balance sheet, that means they can invest up to 4 times of their net worth, whatever coming in large audited balance sheet. Now here comes a question. A new company has been formed very recently and is the first year of operation of that new company. How that company can that company go for overseas investment? Yes. Only requirement is under to go in an automatic route that you get the balance sheet audited. How comes it's in very first year of operation? How can you have a balance sheet? RBI regulation doesn't says that balance sheet as the end of the financial year. During the financial year also, you can make a balance sheet and get that audited, and that will suffice the purpose. This is the easy way of doing the things. Now question comes up at what is financial commitment? Financial commitment of the India party shall comprise of the following: 100% of amount of equity shares or CCD or preference shares, whatever be, 100% amount of other preference shares, 100% amount of loan. So you can do overseas investment either in the form of equity, in the form of debentures, preference shares, loan, whatever way out. And 100% amount of guarantee, but other than performance guarantee. It should not be performance guarantee, normal bank guarantee. But 50% of amount of performance guarantee. If any performance guarantee has been given by Indian party on behalf of overseas company. Now, if we talk about approval route, where it is required a prior approval of RBI. Like I mentioned earlier, any investment beyond 1 billion USD require prior approval of RBI. And if anybody wants to invest beyond the 400% of its net worth, then also it requires approval from RBI. RBI normally take the following factors you have to mention, the following things before. What is the viability of joint venture and WS outside India? Contribution to external trade, financial position of business strategy of Indian party and foreign entity. Both the things are required to be seen before giving any approval. And expertise and experience of Indian party in the same or related line of JVN or WS. And few sectors which are prohibited. Those are real estate, banking, dealing in financial products linked to INR. Because in these sectors, no ODI can be made by any Indian party or any other person without the specific approval of RBI. This we already discussed that ODI can be up to 400% net worth. Now we discuss ODI by Indian party engaged in financial services sectors. Where an Indian party is engaged in any financial service sector like any NBFC, any insurance company, or any other company like stock exchange broker, those who are into financial services, they have to fulfill few requirements prescribed by RBI, though it is allowed under automatic route, but they need to take approval from their respective body who has granted them a license. That is a much to comment. Now, ODI in oil sector, that is also allowed. But it is easily allowed to Navratna PSUs like ONGC, Videsh, Oil India without any limit. But other Indian companies subject to limit prescribed provided that the proposal has been approved by competent authority, that is Oil Ministry, and is duly supported by certified copy of board resolution approving such investment. So in both the sectors, be it financial service sector or be in oil sector, you need approval from your authority first. And approval route. ODI not permitting automatic route conditions, condition for automatic route. Of course, beyond the limits, if you don't have the approval, then you have to go for approval route. Any ODI by registered trust or societies. They are normally not allowed to do overseas investment, but if they want to, they need to have to go to approval route. ODI by individuals, proprietary concerns, unregistered partnership firms. Here is the mention unregistered partnership firms. Registered partnership firms are covered under Indian party, so they can go under automatic route. They don't need to go for approved route. But any unregistered partnership firm doesn't fall in the definition of Indian party. So that unregistered partnership firm is required to go under approval route only. When we discuss about the criteria under automatic route, financial commitment we already discussed a few times that it is 400% of net worth. Valuation is required, and valuation is either by a merchant banker or valuer as per the norms of host country where you are doing the investment. And all transactions related to JVWC routed through only one branch of AD Bank. It's not that you are on, sending one money from one bank, one AD bank, and sending money from other AD bank. No, it has to go through one AD bank, and that to a one branch, not to all any branch. And in a party should not be in an RBI caution list. That's a must requirement. And Indian subsidiary is required to report investment in the form of ODI. Form ODI is required to be filed with AD Bank. And every year, an APR is to be filed. One thing I made out here is FLA return. It has to be filed every year online by Indian party. So two compliances are required to be done every year, even after when you do ODI. That is FLA and APR. APR is annual performance report. These two are required to be done. Caution. What is the caution list? Caution list is where basically when if in a party is an exporter, then for exporter, RBI has prescribed few norms which are required to be fulfilled, like clearing of documents of their shipping and FIRs. If they don't do the compliance of RBI, then they can be in the list of RBI as a caution as a list of defaulters, and they can be under investigation by DRI, CBI, or some other investigation agency. So then that company cannot make any ODI. Methods of investing. Of course, the contribution to the capital. Capital could be in any form, be it equity, be it preference, convertible preference shares or not convertible preference shares, redeemable or not redeemable, capital contribution in LLP or LLC, in whatever be the form. It can be in any form. Subscription.
Manoj sir.
Yeah. So stock exchange, you can do that. Now we come up funding of overseas investments. How the overseas investments are need to be funded. It can be funded through dollar foreign exchange from AD Bank in India. You are purely an Indian company and you are earning in INR only. You are never, but you want to go global. So you went to an AD Bank and asked for the foreign exchange. Through that foreign exchange acquisition, you can get yourself funded. Otherwise, capitalization of exports. You are already exporting to one company. Let's say you are exporting to Europe. You have funds lying out there. For example, like Indian parties are permitted to capitalize payment due from foreign entity towards exports, fees, royalties, or any other dues from the foreign entity for supply of any technical know-how, consultancy, manager, or other services. These are still applicable. Capitalized of export proceeds remaining unrealized beyond the prescribed period of realization will require the prior approval of Reserve Bank. That is, realization period is 6 months in normal scenario. If your any proceeds are unrealized beyond 6 months and you want to capitalize that, in that case you need prior approval of RBI. Indian software exporters are permitted to receive 25% of value of their exports in an overseas software startup company in the form of shares, and that too without entering into joint venture agreements, but with prior approval of Reserve Bank. This is how you can fund. Swap of shares, but in that case, the valuation of shares is required to be done by a merchant banker registered with SEBI. Proceeds of ECBs or foreign currency convertible bonds. In exchange of areas or GDRs issued in accordance with the scheme for issue of foreign currency convertible bonds and ordinary shares through Deposit Mechanism Scheme 1993 and the guidelines thereunder issued by time to time for Government of India. Through that you can fund. Balances lies with EFC, that is Exchange Under Foreign Currency Account of Indian party. That is in case of exporters. If Indian party is an exporter, then they must be having EFC account. So that you can fund yourself overseas funding, overseas investment. Proceeds of foreign currency funds raised to ADR GDS issues. If it is lying abroad in India or abroad, but wherever it may be, you can use that. Now we discuss forms of ODI. We already discussed these forms earlier also before this slide. That it can be in the form of equity, compulsory convertible preference shares, or non-convertible preference shares, whatever be the nature. Debt, convertible, non-convertible preference shares, debentures, whatever be that. Loans or credit facilities extended to your joint venture overseas or wholly owned subsidiary overseas. guarantees, either bank guarantee or performance guarantee, whatever the nature may be. It can be in any form. What other steps are required to be taken for ODI? Of course, you need to first pass a board resolution in your company that you want to do an overseas investment. Then you have to get the valuation of shares done for acquisition every time, for acquisition as well as for further investment. Need to report the form ODI within 30 days of remittance to your AD bank. You don't need to file it directly. It has to go through AD bank. Thereafter, RBI will allot unique identification number for investment in ODI. After that, you need to file the share certificates with AD bank within 6 months, and any change post investment is required to be reported within 30 days. This we discussed earlier also. What is a financial commitment means? Let's do financial commitment means the amount of tax investment outside India by an Indian party, form of equity shares or in the form of preference shares, convertible or not convertible, doesn't matter. In the form of loans, guarantees, performance guarantee. But in case of performance guarantee, we discussed earlier also that only 50% of performance guarantee will be taken as financial commitment. Bank guarantee, SBLCs, which can be used as counter guarantee of binding party, fund or non-fund based limits availed by JV or WS overseas on the properties of on the financial assets of Indian party or group companies. These are collectively called financial commitment. And financial commitment should not exceed 400% of net worth. Investment by capitalization. This we have discussed in an earlier slide also. That subject to regulation, India party may invest outside India by amount of capitalization of amount due to Indian party from foreign entity. Payment of any export, fees, royalty, know-how. This we have already discussed. I have already mentioned. Before coming with this slide, I already mentioned that. But yes, here you require, some places you require prior approval of RBI. Like as a software exporter, you need an RBI approval. If your amount is unutilized beyond the prescribed time limit, in that case you need prior approval. Some places you need prior approval of RBI. ODI in by financial sectors. This we have especially highlighted this because in financial sector, any Indian party is allowed to do investment overseas only when it has history of earning profits in preceding 3 consecutive years. It has registered with regulatory authority, maybe if MBFC with RBI, an insurance sector company with IRDA, or say or any other company with SEBI or any stock exchange, whatever it be. It need to take approval from its own regulatory authority, not RBI. Only in case of NBFC, which is going for overseas investment, is required to take approval from RBI. But if an insurance company is going for overseas investment, it doesn't need to take approval from RBI. It has to take approval from IRDA. So you have to take approval from your concerned regulatory authority. And you have to fulfill the norms prescribed by that regulatory authority in terms of capital adequacy or reserves, whatever is required to be maintained as mentioned by that regulatory authority, that you are required to maintain. Here we discuss the extending of loan of guarantee to overseas joint venture or wholly owned subsidiary companies, or step down subsidy. Now we'll before discuss this, let's discuss what is step down subsidy company. Step down subsidy company is a second level subsidy company. Like let's say I have a company A in India. I have found one wholly owned subsidiary company B in France. Now B company has found one of its wholly owned subsidiary company or joint venture company in Germany C. So that C company will be termed as my for company A. It will be termed as step down subsidiary company. So the second step subsidiary company. Subsidy of subsidy. We can take it like this. Subsidy of subsidy is called as step down subsidy company. Indian party is allowed if to give loan guarantees within the prescribed financial commitment limit, that is 400%, for a JV or a wholly owned subsidiary company without any prior approval. But now it comes out to be what in case of Indian party is giving on it's for a step down subsidiary company. Indian parties are permitted to issue corporate guarantees on behalf of their first level. First level. Now it can be second level also. That is subsidy in subsidy of subsidy of subsidy. The third generation subsidy. That is second level step down subsidy. Here, RBI have clearly mentioned that Indian parties are permitted to issue corporate guarantee on behalf of their first level step down JV or WS. Operating as an operating unit or a SPV under automatic route. for issuance of corporate guarantee on behalf of second generation or subsequent level step-down operating subsidiaries will be considered under approval route. For second level or subsequent level step-down operating company, step-down operating company, or the most important point here is that it has to be operating company. It should not be a company which is not operating for namesake. No, it has to be operating company. And that in that case, if the Indian party directly or indirectly hold 51% of more, then approval route can be taken. If it's less than 51% or 50%, even then, in that case, even approval route is not available. Point is very important out here, where a lot of people misunderstood that even you have 21% or 25%, 28% or 49% stake, I can go under approval route. No, you cannot go under approval route if you hold less than 51% stake. You cannot, you don't have any route available. That is the most important factor. The indirect resident individual promoters of Indian company can issue personal guarantee on behalf of overseas JV, provided that provisions of FEMA Notification 120 has been complied with. Investment in foreign securities by a gift or remittance. Yes, person resident individual in India, being an individual, may acquire the foreign securities by way of gift, by inheritance from person resident in India or person resident outside India. Yes. Issued by a company incorporated outside India under cashless employee stock exchange scheme. ESOPs, but without cash, cashless employee stock exchange scheme, and it should not involve any remittance from India. But these three ways he or she can acquire shares. A person resident in India, being an individual who is an employee of Director of Indian Office, branch of a foreign entity or subsidiary of foreign entity in India, in which foreign entity has direct indirect holding, may accept shares offered by such provided that ESOP are offered by issuing company on global uniform basis. It should not be issued for few or specific employees. It should be global uniform basis. And annual return as prescribed by RBI is furnished through AD Bank. When we because of this globalization, overseas mergers are nowadays, we see, we read in the newspaper that this company has acquired that company, this company has acquired that company. So overseas mergers are very common. So RBI has come up with these regulations, Financial Amendment, Cross-Border Merger Regulations in 2018. It talks about outbound merger means cross-border merger where the resultant company is a foreign company. A person may acquire or hold securities in a resultant company in accordance with the Financial Amendment regulations, no issue. Any transaction on account of cross-border merger undertaken in accordance with those regulations are deemed to have prior approval of Reserve Bank. Are deemed to have. You don't need a prior approval. But if you are doing a merger in accordance with those regulations, you deem to have prior approval. You don't require to go for approval. This is a simple ODI regulation says net worth is paid capital plus free reserves, whereas the Companies Act says paid capital plus all reserve created out of profits, security premium, debit credit balance of accumulated losses, deferred expenses not written off. So there is a slight difference. This is a comparison between FEMA net worth calculation and Companies Act net worth calculation. Valuation of shares. If investment in is more than 5 million, yes, merchant banker, investment banker, or merchant banker in relation host country, valuation required. Otherwise, any chartered accountant or CPA can do the valuation of shares. Whereas investment by a swap of shares, merchant banker, investment banker, or merchant banker host country can do the valuation. But in area GTS, only an investment banker can do the valuation. Well, these are the valuation norms. Partial full acquisition that we already discussed that only category 1 merchant banker, investment banker, merchant banker with host country, whatever the norms has been specified by their authority. Like in case in India, it is SEBI who has come up with valuation standards. So those norms should be followed. If it is by chartered accountant, it has to follow the norms prescribed by ICI. CPA, what are norms has been given by them and by their registering authority, they have to go by that. RBI says any recognized valuation method, international recognized valuation method, that need to be followed. These are the only compliances. I won't discuss much for them. This form ADI need to be filled along with the certified copy of valuation, statutory certificate and valuation report as per the requirement. As already discussed, if it is made by more than one entity, even in that case, ODF form, one single ODF form is required to be submitted. And UIN, and every time when you make it further investment, you have to quote that UIN. These are the form ODI contents. I won't touch it much. This can be seen in ODI form. It has just mentioned for the sake of mentioning. Yes, these are the part A, section A, B, C, D, and E. And part 2 is annual performance report, and part 3 is report on disinvestment. Report on disinvestment, and we'll discuss more on disinvestment because that is a most important topic. We'll discuss it later. Post investment compliance. Yes, share certificates need to receive and give to AD Bank within 6 months. All dues of royalty, technical fees, dividend has to be repatriated to India. APR need to be filed. and FLA return need to be filed every year by 15 July. Any change in or diversification or anything issuing pattern need to be reported in annual performance report. AD before undertaking any ODI, it is instructed to confirm APR is received. It has to ensure that all APR has been received for any further ODI thing. Where the multiple Indian parties are invested in same overseas, the company which has the major investment among them, who is a major shareholder among them, is required to file APR. Only one APR is required to file. It's not that every company will file an APR. No need. But FLA need to be filed by every company. APR should be based on last audited balance sheet of JV or WS, and as per Indian standard, in statute of Indian company is required to check whether the person who's doing audit is qualified enough to do the audit or not. For that, you have to go for the standard of depending on the work of other professionals. That is a standard given by ICI. You go in that. I don't discuss much on that because that is not on topic of today. If it is audit is not done, because many times it happens, we have financially ended on 31st March, whereas in other companies, Europe or some other countries, they have financial year ended in on a calendar year basis. So of course, you don't get 31st March balance sheet available with you, audited balance sheet available with you, but you can depend on 31st December audited financials. You can go doing that. Now the most important topic is disinvestment. Everybody says investment, but what is what? How to get money back if I want to wind up? If my subsidiary company is in losses and I need to write off my investments, how to? All these things come under meaning of disinvestment. It can be disinvestment can be in the form of transfer of sale of shares. That is the most easiest way of doing it. You have formed a company overseas, then you sold the shares to somebody else. So that is a disinvestment, and you have received your money back in India. Simple way. But here we are not came up to here what is the most simplest way. We are come here to know the complexities. Forms of disinvestment can be sale, gift, buyback of shares, dilution, liquidation, merger, demerger, asset sale, plum sale, capital reduction, repayment, accounting, write-off, writing off of. So This also has two routes, automatic and as well as approval. If Indian party complies with the following conditions, then it will not require total approval of RBI. It has to just furnish the details of disinvestment in Form ODI within 30 days of transaction, where it has just sold the shares without resulting any right of investment. Let's say you have made an investment of 100,000 USD and you sold the shares for 110,000 USD. That means you have made a profit of 10,000 USD. No return of, you can do it under automatic route. No need of any approval. If the sale results in right of investment listed on overseas stock exchange, on stock exchange in India, and transfer price is less than, then the return of should not exceed the price between sale price or amount invested approved by RBI. If the shares are listed, many times it can be done at your wholly owned subsidiaries shares are listed. Then if it is sale is effected through stock exchange, you don't need any approval. But if shares are not listed and the shares are listed by a private arrangement, the share price should not be less than the fair value as certified by CEO CPA on the basis of last audited balance sheet. Indian party doesn't have any outstanding dues which is required to be received from overseas company, whether in the form of dividend, know-how fee, royalty, consultancy, whatever the name called, that is required to be received back. And overseas concern has been operational for at least 1 full year, and APR has been duly filed with Reserve Bank through AD, of course. And Indian party is not under investigation by any investigation agency, be it CBI, SEBI, IDA, DE, DRI, ED, or any other, whatever may be. Approval route. If anyone who doesn't qualify the automatic route, then it has to go for approval route. And where writing off of investment is required, there also approval route has to be followed. Indian party is also allowed to pledge their shares to an AD bank or PFI in India for a willing credit facility, either for itself or for its JV or WS. And it is supervised by Reserve Bank, and it is very well within the prescribed limits. And on sale of shares, sale proceeds must be repatriated to India within 90 days. What are the distribution methods? Transfer by way of sale of shares, we already discussed it, without return of investment. Transfer by way of sale of shares involving right of investment, two types. where it is terms of buy sale of shares without right of investment. The sale is effected either through a stock exchange. If it is not listed on stock exchange, it is as per the value certified by CA, and in a party doesn't have any outstanding dues from JV. This we already discussed. Overseas concern has been in operation, not under any other investigation, and all terms and conditions prescribed under ODI were duly followed. Where it is required written offer of investment, it can be either JV Overseas is listed on stock exchange, Indian company is listed on the stock exchange, and it was not less than 100 crore. Indian company is listed, but less than 100 crore net worth, but investment overseas doesn't exceed 10 million USD. Indian party is unlisted, and investment overseas ventures doesn't exceed 10 million. These can be the scenarios. Prices renewals are also allowed. In equity, investment in equity shares or compulsory convertible preference shares through LR scheme. And these are the only procedural compliances. I don't discuss it much because it is only procedure, it doesn't have any complication. The more important is the taxability. We all know that in case of shares, if shares are held less than 12 months, it is regarded as short term. But in case of it is more than 12 months, it is regarded as long term. If any company is selling its shares under disinvestment without write-off under automatic route, then it has to be either long term or short term, whatever be as per the period of held, and it is going to be taxed in India. Now, thankfully, all long term capital gain are not. If you long term capital gain on shares were used to be exempt, but here that clause was not, of course, not there. But even when it was there, it was not applicable here, because even if the shares of wholly owned subsidiary company or JV would have been listed overseas, they would have not been listed in India, in the stock exchange in India. So it doesn't make difference in case of when we do calculation of long-term taxation, whether the shares of JV or WS is listed overseas or doesn't list overseas. It doesn't make any difference. The taxability will be same in both the scenarios. So section 111A, which gives special rate of tax, doesn't fall here in case of disinvestment, because it isn't going to make any difference. Same in case of long-term capital gain also. Yes, and section 112, which says lower rate of tax that can be applicable if you don't take indexation. that benefit can be taken. And of course, before going for any tax planning or any tax structure, we need to check the DTAA with the concerned companies. And now, most important is MLI, multilateral MLAs, multilateral instruments. Then MLI is also very important factor after 1st April specifically. Dinner foreign company is fully taxable in India. Yes, DT double A benefit you can take, but it is fully taxable in India. Restructuring of balance sheet. Indian promoters who have set WS abroad and have at least 51%, they can do restructuring. Like in case of Tata Chorus, they have to do a lot of write-offs in their balance sheet. And Tata Steel has accordingly has to restructure a balance sheet in India. So up to 25% of equity investment, it is in the automatic route. But if it is more than 25% of equity investment, it has to need prior approval of RBI. And Indian party has to go through AD Bank only. Now the forum is open for questions. Thank you.
People who have questions, they can either raise their hand or post their question on the screen over there. So we have some people who raise their hands. Mr. Sagar Shah. Mr. Sagar Shah, you can speak
Yeah.
now.
See, my question was when we say regulatory authorities, what do we mean by them? In Companies Act, what would we mean? Would it mean the MCA?
No, when we talk about regulatory authority, that is in case of specific financial sectors, like you're an insurance company. Then you have
Correct.
to
I mean, I understood.
go
It can be IRDA or anything.
So it has to be company law is just take where you are getting formed, but license to do business you are going to get from some other authority. Like for NBFC, you have to go to RBI. For insurance, you have to go to this IRDA. For the stock exchange or any other release stocks and all that, you need to go to SEBI. So
Yeah.
when I talk about regulatory authority, it means that you are who has given you the license to operate in financial service sector.
Okay. Okay.
Next is Miss Sarita Jain. Ma'am, you can speak now.
Hello.
Hello,
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
very good afternoon.
Sir, I have a query that if a Indian entity has made investment in foreign entity,
Yes,
okay, and that entity has issued bonus shares during the year.
yes.
So, whether that is to be mentioned in the form ODI or that is not to be mentioned,
No,
is that would be
no,
considered as an additional investment or not?
no. That two things. Bonus shares are not considered as an additional investment, but
Yeah, it is
you are required to submit the copy of share certificates to your AD Bank.
of that bonus shares issued also.
Yes, you are required.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Okay, okay. But then we are not supposed to disclose in ODI form, right?
No, not in ODI, but yes, when you file your APR,
Hmm.
in APR you need to mention that bonus shares. This is a bonus shares.
Okay. Okay, but in that investment, like initial financial commitment, in that we are not supposed to
No,
mention that part.
no. It is not your financial commitment. It is not your financial commitment.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Next is Mr. Simardeep Singh.
Yeah.
You can speak.
So I'm audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
Audible.
Thank you for the session, sir. And one of the questions I'm having is that if a company or an investor invest in the US entity, and later on that is in the form of a safe, which is generally securities, or you can say that which is generally, you can say, repatriable at a later date on the depends upon the valuation. So that money when comes back to India, how the same reporting in respect of that to be done to the RBI, and how we will deal in that case, safes which are being issued in the US entity.
This is a form of disinvestment. You need to
Okay.
file a ODI form with your AD bank as a disinvestment one, and you are doing a disinvestment. And whatever the taxes are required to be paid in India, you need to pay here.
Okay, and one more query was that is this investment is allowed under the liberalized remittance scheme also?
Liberalized remittance scheme is available only to resident individuals, not to companies.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any other question?
Mr. Raf Fernandez, you can speak now.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes. My question was actually on Regulation 7 of ODI. Where the requirement is to be registered with any regulator which is looking after financing in case of financing activities. What if the Indian party is actually investing in an SPV outside India, which would be actually further investing in another operating entity? In that case, would it need to be regulated in India by a financial services regulator?
No. In that case, if you are putting investment in SPV overseas, and then you're going to make a further investment, there you need
Yes.
a prior approval of RBI. Hello?
Okay, but yeah, but I wouldn't need to meet the criteria of Regulation 7, which requires me to be regulated by a financial services regulator, right?
The financial services regulator criteria is applicable when an Indian party is into financial services business.
Okay, but what if this is considered by the overseas, the host country, if this is considered as a financial services activity by investing in an SPV, which would further invest in another company
If it is
as a co-investment company?
if it is considered as a financial service activity in host country, that you need to do the compliance and approval in host country law only, not in India.
Okay, understood.
Next is Mr. Sanjeev Kurana. Next is Ms. Shefali Gupta.
Morning, sir.
Very good
Sir,
morning.
I want to ask you, in case of liquidation of wholly owned subsidiary, do we need to apply for fresh UIN or for step down subsidiary?
I mean, you are going for liquidation of wholly owned subsidiary,
Yes, sir.
and
So, do we require to apply for UIN or step down subsidiary?
you are not going for liquidation of your step down subsidiary. You're going only for liquidation of your wholly owned subsidiary. That's what your question is.
Yes, sir. Step down? Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes. In that case, your step down subsidiary will become your subsidiary. So in that
Yes.
case, yes, you need to go for fresh UIN. In my opinion, you need to go for fresh UIN. And in case of liquidation, also you need a prior approval of RBI because you are going to write off your investments.
Okay.
Liquidation require
Okay, thank you.
write-offs.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Next is Mr. Jitendra Jyot Singhani.
Good afternoon,
Sir,
sir.
you can speak now.
Can an individual subscribe to this online trading platforms in US markets, and which platform is the best?
In my opinion, an individual is not allowed to go for this online trading platforms. Individuals are only allowed to invest in shares of company overseas through liberalized dividend scheme. But you can't do
I
that.
meant that only, sir.
Yeah, through LRS you can do that. Through
Okay,
LRS,
which platform do you think is a good one?
so yeah, I am not doing trading. I don't do trading, so I cannot say
Okay, okay,
from.
okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Next is Mr. Rajat Singh.
Good afternoon, sir. My question, can you put some light on investment by the resident individual under LRS, its post-investment compliances and annual compliances and its disinvestment procedure?
You see that your voice is not clear. I'm not ever able to understand anything.
Hello. Am I audible?
Voice.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, yes. Tell me.
Can you throw some light on investment by resident individuals under LRS scheme, its post-investment compliances, its annual compliances, and its disinvestment procedure?
Under LRS, you don't need to do any annual compliance. You're not required to. You can in one financial year you can make a remittance of 250,000 USD under LRS, and you're not subject to any. But in this budget, yes, which is in the government come up with a law that if you are remitting more than 7 lakh rupees,
Hmm.
they are going to collect some TCS of 5%
Okay.
on that amount.
Okay.
For that,
Under LRS.
for refund of TCS, that you need to file your financials and everything. And that
Hmm.
law, because of this COVID-19, has been deferred. It should have been appear from 1st April, but it has now been deferred from 1st October. That is the only thing you should keep in mind. Hello.
And what about disinvestment procedure? Like when we receive the money back.
When you receive the money back, whatever the profits and gains or losses you have earned, see, there can only be two things: either profit or loss. If there is a profit, you have to declare that and you have to pay the taxes accordingly. You can bring back the money, no problem.
Okay.
If there is
And that is
most important thing which need to be noted, that profit can be or profit or losses can be because of foreign exchange fluctuation also. If there is no profit actually there is no profit, but because of foreign exchange fluctuation, there is a profit coming out. Even then, you need to draw
okay.
the taxes.
So we need to compare dollar to dollar or amount, and
INR to
not the
INR.
INR amount.
INR to INR.
Okay. And we have to show this investment into the income tax return, but no compliances with the RBI, right?
No.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Next one is Mr. Hemang Dakkan. Mr. Hemang Dakkan, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, hi Hemang. Legal Genie.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sir. How are you?
Yeah, very fine.
It was a nice presentation on ODI, and thank you very much, first of all. Sir, I have one query regarding ODI. That suppose there is a investment outside India and it is 90% by Indian party, but the total amount is very small, the equity investment, but they have given a higher amount of the loan to that foreign party.
Okay.
So if they do all as a disinvestment due to loss, so whether RBI prior approval is required or only the reporting part will be required for the disinvestment?
If it is all is going to write off, you need a prior approval for RBI.
So prior approval is not with respect to the limitation of the amount. For any disinvestment, prior approval is required,
Yes.
right?
If you're going for
If I'm not correct.
if you're going for writing of an disinvestment, not any. If there is a written off.
Sorry, sir.
Not any disinvestment. If there is a writing off of investment, then prior approval is required. If you're not writing it off.
Okay. So in case of loss.
In case
of a loss.
Of course, you have to write off the investment.
Okay. Yeah. And sir, just one more question that this APR filing and ODI filing is still in physical, right? It is not like this forms and flare type online things.
No, it has to through AD only.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Next one is Mr. Amrut Parak. Mr. Amrut Parak, you can speak.
Yes, sir. I'm audible.
Yes, very much.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Amit.
So my question is that, yeah, sir, we have formed a company in the month of March. The company is Chinese company. That time is allowed as a 100% automatic route. Now change in the month of April the policy, so we are required to get approval of the government.
Yes.
Till date we have not that company has not invested a single rupee as a subscriber money because due to lockdown and all these things. So in this scenario, what we will do, whether we wait or what, we have go to approval of the government, or what is the exact scenario that will be had?
You have to form a company in India. Hello.
By amount.
Yeah, you have formed a company.
100%.
You have formed a 100% subsidiary company in India with Chinese people.
We have formed. Yeah.
So
yeah, they are the Chinese beneficial owner are the Chinese peoples in the month of March.
Only for the amount of subscription subscriber money which they have already subscribed in January. And you know, subscription money has to be brought in
March. Yeah.
In March. Only for the subscriber money and subscription.
No, that amount is not coming in.
Only for the subscription money. You don't need approval of government. But
yeah, absolutely correct. Because
but if you're going to make investment more than that, whether in the form of loan.
No, we want exit because no, we do not want any format. We want only equity. This amount is approximately 2.5 CR, which is a subscriber amount.
You are subscribed in. So this money you have already subscribed before coming up with this regulation of 17th April. You have already subscribed it. So you don't need approval. You don't need approval because you have already subscribed.
Yeah, it's
only thing that you haven't paid it, but you have
it's subscribed in the month of March. But
so you need approval. You don't need approval for that amount.
Hello.
You don't need approval for that amount.
We need to approval. So
you don't need
that amount which is we subscribed.
Yes, which you are always need. You don't need approval. You don't need.
Yeah, sir. The question, sir, that is that we subscribed, but that same amount is not come in India by through AD or whatever bank through. That will be pending.
So subscription money you can receive within 6 months as per company law.
Yeah. Okay.
So no.
So within as per FEMA also within 6 months, as per the company law also is 6 months.
So now you don't need approval.
Hello.
You don't need approval.
So for taking amount we need approval.
Yes.
Okay, so that means that amount we have due to change of this we want to get approval first, then we will take the money from that holding.
Don't need approval. You don't need approval. Not approval not required.
Okay, not approval required. Due to that we have earlier subscriber before coming this circular. Am I right, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Manoj sir, we are seeing a lot of people raising their hands now. So shall we take questions from 2 more people and close the session?
Yeah, no problem.
Manoj sir.
Yeah.
Okay. People who still have any unanswered questions, they can either post their question here or reply to the confirmation mail which you have got. So those questions will be answered later by the speaker.
Yes.
Okay.
Please share PPT, sir.
Next one. Sure. Next one is Mr. Kavit Jatakia. Mr. Kavit Jatakia, you can speak now. Please unmute yourself and speak. Mr. Kavit Jatakia.
Hello.
Hi, you're audible. Boliye na.
Yeah. Sir, my question is, in case of an individual who is getting ESOP from a foreign multinational company, or for that matter, he is just an employee of an Indian subsidiary, but not having any direct remuneration earnings from the foreign multinational, and just receiving ESOP, in that case, is he required to do any compliance with RBI or the ED bank, because it is all cashless?
No, you don't need to. It is in the automatic route. You don't need to do any compliance with RBI or ED bank. But yes, with income tax, you
Okay.
need to. This
Yeah.
will be
Okay. So, sir,
be taxable in India as proposed.
right, correct. Sir, then, like in case of
Hello. Hello.
With you are there?
Yes, Dinesh.
Seems like there is a problem. Mr. Kavit? It seems
Yes.
like there is a problem with his network.
hello.
Okay,
Manoj
बोलिए
sir,
Kavit.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one more question. In case of a disinvestment of a subsidiary, the entire compliance can be done through the ED bank only, right? Even for cancelling of the UIN and all.
Yes, everything through ED bank only.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Next one is from Mr. Kishore Katri.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I have one small question, sir.
Tell me.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me, please.
Sir, actually, our company has made an investment. Ours is a listed company. I'm speaking from Hyderabad. Our company made an investment in Hong Kong, say like 2,63,000 Hong Kongs. And over a period of time, we couldn't get the business and we want to close it out. No, there has been some expenditure, and due to that, we have a negative network of the company. So we can close it by writing off the paid up share capital, sir, or do we need to go for a RBI approval?
You can do it with prior approval of RBI. You need to go for approval of RBI.
With
yes.
For writing of the capital against the losses that we have.
Yes.
Okay, fine, so fine. Because ours is a very small investment, so it's a 2 lakh Hong Kong dollars. It comes around 15 lakh rupee in Indian rupees. So still we need to go for a RBI approval.
Still, I will advise you to go for the RBI approval. And RBI, if your case is genuine, approval. But you have to go to your ED bank.
Fine.
You have to go through your ED bank.
Okay, fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
and I'm going to give bonuses to the first.
I request Manish sir to give vote of thanks to the speaker.
Hello. Sir, can you share this PPT on email?
Sir, it will be shared. Manish sir, your voice is not audible.
Vinay, I think you can conclude the session.
Thank you for the session, sir. It's like there are a lot of insights in the and I think most of the questions were answered for the participants also. So if you have any further queries, you can post it on the panel over there, or you can send a mail to us. Thank you for the session, sir. So we are concluding the session here now.